I deleted my email app last Thursday, not because I'm on a retreat or trying to impress anyone. It was because I realized something sitting in my car. My phone wasn't the problem, I was. Or more specifically, my standards were.
Welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, a podcast about becoming 1% better every day. And now your host, yours truly, Clarence Stowers.
I deleted my email app last Thursday, not because I'm on a retreat or trying to impress anyone. It was because I realized something sitting in my car. My phone wasn't the problem, I was. Or more specifically, my standards were. Here's what I mean and why this changes everything. Happy New Year, and I'm so glad that you are with me today. Before we dive in, let me tell you what this podcast is and what it is not. Because if you're here, I want you to know exactly what you're signing up for. This is a show for people who are building something, a career, a family, a business, a life that actually means something. And if you're smart enough to know that success without clarity is just a faster way to burn out. So, here's what we're going to do together. Every episode, we're tackling one idea, one shift, one thing that you can walk away with and actually use. No fluff, no 47-step systems, just the kind of insight that changes how you move throughout the week. It's all about getting 1% better every day. We're going to talk about focus, about leadership, about money, about the invisible decisions that shape everything else. The stuff nobody teaches you, but everybody needs. I'll share what I'm learning, what I've gotten wrong, and what's actually working, because I'm not here to perform expertise. I'm here to think out loud with you. So new episodes will drop every week. And if that sounds like something you need, go ahead, hit subscribe, share the podcast. It's free. And if it's not for you, no hard feelings. But if it is, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about attention, specifically why blaming your phone is like blaming the restaurant for your weight gain. Spoiler, the device is not the villain here. Here's what I noticed watching people I respect. The ones who complain most about distraction aren't actually using different technology than the ones who get deep work done. Same phone, same notifications, different internal standards. That's the gap no one talks about. So, let's talk about what's actually going on here. Because if it's not the phone, what is it? First, let me give you some insight why willpower will never save you. Here's the promise. You'll stop fighting yourself and start operating from a place of clarity. See, standards are the invisible agreements you've made about what's acceptable. Let's dig deeper. A standard isn't willpower. Willpower is exhausting. It's you fighting yourself constantly. A standard is a boundary you've accepted. It's the difference between I'm not allowed to check email and I don't check email during deep work because that's beneath what I've decided my work deserves. See, that's the standard. Think about this. You've probably had zero standards about scratching an itch. If your arm itches, you scratch it. No internal debate. That's a standard working for you. Same mechanism. But somewhere along the way, we've lowered standards for attention to, well, everyone gets distracted. No, you've just decided that's acceptable. That's the move. Now here's what's interesting. Because you might be thinking, okay, so I just need to raise my standards. But that's not actually the problem. The real question is, why did they drop in the first place? So, now that we know why willpower will never save you, here's my second insight. You're not lazy, you're drowning. That's right. This is when you'll finally understand why focus keeps escaping you and it's not what you think. Low standards don't usually come from laziness. Man, I just said something right there. Okay, let's try this again. Low standards don't always come from laziness. They come from overwhelm. When you're drowning, you stop caring about the quality of the boat. You just grab the nearest thing that you can float on. That's what's happened to most of us. We're drowning in commitments. We're drowning with too many projects, drowning with too many emails, too many relationships pulling at once. So we've lowered our standards for focus because we've accepted that overwhelm as permanent. No. Let's talk about the question that flips it. Here's what changed for me. I stopped asking, how do I stay focused? Start asking, what am I saying yes to that's making it impossible to focus? Because if you're saying yes to 40 things and wondering why you can't concentrate, the answer isn't better focused, it's fewer yeses. I had a week last week. I had a week last month, my goodness. A week where I was supposed to be leading strategy, mentoring someone, handling a personal crisis, managing production, learning new software all at once. And I kept thinking, why can't I concentrate? Duh. I had 5 full-time jobs stacked on one person. No standard works when the load is that mismatched. So, what do you actually do with this? Because understanding the problem is one thing, but I want to give you something that you can use this week, something that will prove to you that this works. And that is my final insight, how 90 minutes can change how you work. Here's my promise. By the end of this week, you'll have proof that focus is a choice, not a gift. Here's what I want you to do. Pick one work block this week, just one. Could be 90 minutes, could be 2 hours. For me, I block off the first 4 hours in the day. That's my focus block. Now for you, whatever feels real. And before you start, ask yourself, what standard do I want to operate at for this block? Not how will I stay focused, but what's the minimum acceptable quality of attention I'm willing to bring here? Maybe your standard is this block is for one thing only, no email, no Slack, nothing that gets access. Or maybe it's this block gets 95% of my attention, and I'm okay with 5% interruption. The specific standard matters less than you actually having one, because the moment you have one, your brain stops debating. It's a rule now, not a negotiation. And here's the cool part. When you prove to yourself once that focus is a choice, not a gift, some people have it, some people don't, you'll start raising that standard naturally, because you'll taste what it's like to do work that matters at the speed you are actually capable of. And that is addictive. Now, let me bring this home. Let's be clear. Your phone isn't going anywhere. Distraction isn't going away. But the noise outside is only powerful because of the silence inside. The moment you decide that your attention is valuable enough to protect, not eventually, but now, the whole game changes. You're not fighting your phone anymore. You're making a choice about the standards you're willing to operate at. And that choice, that one invisible decision, changes everything. Now, as I conclude, I want to know what standard you set for yourself this week. What's the one thing you're deciding is worth protecting your attention for? Drop it in the comments, send me an email, whatever you're listening to, or send me a note. I read everything, and I love hearing how this lands for different people. It matters. Now, if this resonated, hit subscribe. I'm releasing a new episode every week around these kinds of decisions, the invisible choices that change the way you work. Next week, we're digging into something weird. We're digging into habits that look harmless, but are quietly stealing your life. You know the ones that just quickly checking behavior that somehow eats 40 minutes of your life away, and here it is, you're doom scrolling, all of the above. We're taking those apart next week. I'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. Join us next time for more insights on becoming 1% better each day and leveling up in all areas of life.